Hello and welcome to this week's Top 10 Minor Region Power Rankings, where we cover the top 10 teams in the minor regions utilizing stats and algorithms. Keep in mind, I do not watch these teams play. I can only have time to watch the four major regions play, so if you're a fan of the VCS, PCS, LJL, CBLOL, LLA, or LCO, all of your scouting insights are more than welcome in the comment section. This is what the stats say. I understand that the stats don't tell the whole story, especially because some teams will have strong stats in a game and still throw. Team Flash in 10th place is the epitome of that. They did it again today. Three regions not represented in the top 10 out of the minor regions. Brazil, Pain Gaming is ranked 19th. Latin America, Rainbow 7 is still the strongest Latin American team despite losing to Infinity. They lost to somebody. They're in the loser bracket. And they're 25th. LCO, Chief, and Team Bliss got railroaded by the PCS when they went into the PCS playoffs, going 1-12 across four best of threes. So not a great showing out of that. And actually, when you look at it closer, if you missed my video a couple weeks ago, it's up on my channel, obviously. It goes over how I looked at creating the minor region hierarchy based off of last year's international results. And Chief played Beyond Gaming only once at Worlds last year, and that was the only time the LCO and PCS actually crossed paths. And those stats from that game, which is a super small sample, actually correlate with what happened this past week, which was, I found interesting. That the LCO actually really struggled against Beyond Gaming that one. I think that was the only game Beyond Gaming actually won. 10th place in these power rankings, Team Flash from Vietnam are 3-7. They went 0-2 this past week. They throw more games. They throw more games than anybody, I think. A lot of games they are in control in gold, objectives, kills, etc., and still do not win. Jane in mid lane was their only player with a positive KDA, going 14-8-12 across those two series. 9th place is Saigon Buffalo from Vietnam. They're 4-5, 1-0 this past week, beating Team Secret, who we'll get to. Shogun went 7-3-17 in that series. So Saigon Buffalo, a team that's close to my heart. 9th place in the power rankings, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th in my VCS algorithm right now. CTBC Flying Oyster, otherwise known as CFO, who were at Worlds last year, are 8th from the PCS. They went 12-6, went 2-0. Like I said, stats only tell one part of the story. I understand that CFO beat Frank this morning in a best of 5 in a reverse sweep. Frank are way up there, CFO down here. That just shows how big of a stat gap there was going into it. We have to keep in mind, I'm looking at more than 5 games here. We're looking at the previous 18 games. And I understand they're best of ones, but I would like the teams to cross paths again. Maybe Frank does not throw. We'll get into that. Shun, 44-16-44 against Chief Esports Club from the LCO. And then 5 games against Frank. So that's across 8 games, 44-16-44. 7th is Team Secret from Vietnam. They're 4-6, went 1-1 this past week. They have utilized 4 different junglers, according to JBeast, who sometimes appears in the comment section. They are also a moderator on the Discord. They are our not licensed, but they are our VCS aficionado. Meander is our PCS aficionado. They have not been around as much, but they usually give us some good insight. We have a couple other PCS folks that comment from time to time. But Eddie for Team Secret went 32-10-21 for them as they went 1-1 this past week. 6th place, the only team not from Vietnam or the PCS, Detonation Focus Me from Japan, who are 12-2, went 1-0 in their final series of the split. Toll 2 led the way in top lane, going 9-4-10. the last 2 weeks, Toll 2 has been the player of mention on this board, which I think is a big deal because we look at DFM over the years. DFM have been very competitive at international events against major region teams. They're able to take a game off of RNG. They took a game off of EG this past Worlds. They were able to be competitive at MSI and in years past also pull off some upsets. And it has been a team that has kept the nucleus together, but now Evie with Team Heretics and LEC, there's a big question mark who is going to replace that top laner, and Toll 2 towards the end of the split has really turned it up. We'll see how he does in the playoffs. 5th place Team Wales from Vietnam, 5-5, went 0-2 this past week, kind of shows how much of a stat gap they had built up. BA is 5-13-60 for a 5 KDA in the support role. BA, the VCS MVP from last year. 4th, Frank Esports, PCS, 12-6. Like I said, reverse swept by CFO this morning. Not a great showing. Somebody in the Discord said Eminem was a big reason why. Eminem did have the best KDA for Frank, going 24-11-31. 3rd, PSG Talent from the PCS. Their stats are the same. Their stats have been the same a couple weeks now. Nothing added to it because they haven't played. They're going to play Impunity, I assume, this week in what is their first best of 5 in the playoffs. 2nd, GAM Esports from Vietnam are 10-0, went 2-0 this past week. Levi, 16-14-39, had the best KDA of the players on the team in the jungle. GAM, obviously, in my power rankings, along with PSG, and you may question why are they in those power rankings, but not first on this board, and it's because I have watched the majority of GAM play in terms of their players. I mean, this is the same team from Worlds for the most part, and then PSG, the same thing. It's pretty much the same team that play similarly. Now, we have to keep in mind, though, with GAM, this past week, they were really weird. They're playing Play Cool, so that meant that Style didn't play. Like, they were doing all sorts of stuff. They didn't play Katie in one series. Like, just GAM are getting cute towards the end of the split here, trying to give players extra time. So, you know, the substitutes and whatnot. So, they're 10-0, 2-0 this year so far. And then Cerberus Esports from Vietnam are 7-3 and went 1-1 this past week. And it's very confusing why they're going to be first. Because MBE, or MGN, Box Esports, or whatever, they are arguably the worst team in the world. They're in the conversation. But somehow Cerberus lost to them in a best of 3 this past week. So one might wonder, how did they end up here? Well, the stats are what they are. Artemis went 19-7-21. There is definitely some question mark pings around how Cerberus lost, but it's over. They did. I mean, to be generous to both sides, maybe MGN or whatever, MBE, were so embarrassed because they are the ones that played GAM when GAM started playing their substitutes and still smoked them. It makes me wonder if, well, didn't actually smoke them, but MBE may have put together 2 good series in a row, or they were embarrassed by losing to GAM in the manner in which they did and responded by beating Cerberus. I don't know, but it is what it is. So, comment down below with your opinions. Like the video if you like it. Subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter. Join the Discord. Become a supporter. And thank you for watching.